Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Confused to Focus Talks with Lekeisha, because this is where we dive into a journey of feeling stuck for us to become unstuck. I'm so excited that you're here with us on today. We have an amazing special guest today, family, and I cannot wait for you to see her and greet her. She is truly amazing, and I'm so thankful for her to taking the time out to definitely come on the show today. She's going to introduce herself in depth, but at the same time, I'm going to introduce her formally. She is a bilingual author and a writer and a Spanish teacher, and she truly has a lot to share with us. Her name is CJ Charles, family, and I'm so excited for her to share with us her journey in writing the amazing book, My Mom is My Superhero. Truly, I resonate with that because my mom is impactful in my life, and she's going to share with us how truly amazing her mother really was. So this in-depth conversation is going to be amazing, family. Make sure you share with your friends and subscribe to this channel, and definitely connect with someone that definitely resonates with this whole conversation. I promise you it's going to be impactful for you all. Blessings to each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Greetings, Queen. How are you this morning? Very early.
So well. Good morning. It is early, but that's all right. Good morning. How are you?
I am amazing. I've been so ready for this conversation. Honestly, I knew you were going to have so much to share with the Confused to Focus Talks with Lekeisha family. Please let us know a little bit about yourself before we go into it and really engage ourselves in this journey.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me, Lekeisha. My name is CJ Charles. I'm a bilingual children's author, Spanish teacher, child of LA, all of the above. And I'm so excited to be here with you and talk about whatever we're going to talk about. Let's get into it.
I'm loving it. Listen, we're going to get right into it. I want to know a little bit about you and why you began to write this amazing book. My mom is my superhero. I feel like it's a lot more than what we see. Tell us about it.
Okay, so I did grow up with a single mother in South Central Los Angeles back in the 80s and 90s. And even though I grew up in the hood, I had the best educators. I had the best teachers. My mother was in education, and my grandparents weren't like. I was surrounded with just this theme of education and doing the best that you can and all these types of things. And when I was in school, I just had teachers who encouraged me to write all the time. When I came home, my mother was writing, my mother was reading, my grandparents were writing, they were reading. And so, it was a natural thing for me to go into education and to writing. And it just seemed like it's just been my path my whole life. What else could I say? My sister, I don't know, it's everything. It's just, I always had words around me. Essence magazine, Ebony magazine on the table, Jet magazine, Reader's Digest, always on the table. And so it was just natural for me to read and write, to be very honest. I am a teacher now. I teach high school Spanish here in Southern California. I used to live in Costa Rica. I live with the Familia Tica. Oh man, I don't know. I can go on and on. I don't know. You got to ask me a question. I don't know. I can go on and on.
Oh, absolutely. I want you to go on and on because while your energy is really, electrifying, all of us are resonating with it, honestly, because there's so many people that don't have that energy today. And I feel that your perspective in life has really cultivated who you are today. Can you let us know as far as the perspective when it came to your mom and just how she began to craft this amazing creation, how you began to go about in your world today?
I believe that my mother, she's amazing. So she's about 5'4", petite, beautiful cheekbones, smart, beautiful teeth. I mean, she's pretty without having to even blink. Very, very intelligent. She would have us in college with her at night. So we would go to school all day. My mother went to school at night, and we had to go to school with her. We would sit in the back of any auditorium of the class. I learned sign language because I used to go to her sign language class. And we would just listen to whatever the professor was doing. We would be in the back coloring, drawing, fighting, but we were still in college all night. So watching my mother do that, and then she would come home and she always cooked dinner, always made dinner at night. We did not eat out. If you could go to McDonald's, you were so lucky. She would take us to all types of free events in the city, right? We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a good car. I would watch her put 2 bottles of oil in the car, and then we would, see if it stopped backfiring. would stop backfiring. And then she would take us to a museum if they had Children's Day. She would take us we would just sit in the park for hours because sometimes we didn't have anything else to do, but she would get us out of the house in a constructive way. We would just walk around the mall, and we would do a lot of window shopping. Just, she would say, well, if you could do that, what would you wear that to? Where would you wear this to? We would, oh man. So she would build that creativity in you and that wonder in you at an early age. I mean, we were going to natural history museums around USC and just walking around. They had rose gardens, and just thinking about how creative she was with very little. She's super, like, it's amazing. Homework, always at the table. She doesn't care what, there's no TV. You're only watching the news. On Sunday, there's church, and then you might get an ice cream and you back to the house. You could play outside. There was just, I don't know. I think it was a real unique situation that kids today don't have anymore. Like, people don't have dinner at the table every night. Now we have mismatched tableware, but that's okay. We had like 3 forks and like a short knife and a butter knife. But yeah, I just think, Mom, she set a precedent and example that you just don't find very often unless you're of a certain age group. So yeah, I don't know. She's just amazing.
Yeah,
deserves a book.
I like that. She's so amazing. She made an impact for your life, and I feel that the impact continue to allow you to continue to create. You said some key words today. You were talking about creation. You were talking about, just wanting to sow into others. I feel like you found your niche, your mission. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I hope so. I grew up watching people help people. My mother would help people. My grandparents helped people. And I grew up in a house of people who served others. So for example, for a time, my grandparents were janitors, seamstress. They took in laundry, worked at the everybody in my family worked at the post office. Everybody has the government job. And then my mom was teaching as well in special education. So I grew up watching it being very normal to take pride in serving others and helping others. So it's not strange to me to say if someone's, oh, let me help you do that. Oh, let me get, like, it's odd for me when people don't help other people. So I grew up with that. I grew up watching my grandfather build, he would come back with a pile of wood, and I would just sit out there all day and watch him build something from wood or watch him fix the house. So that creating and that helping and that it was all that I knew. And so that's what causes me to want to help and rock. Like, it's just my normal. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I just grew up with some people who just got me right at an early age. Yeah, but I love to create. So with the books, so I started writing the books about 12 years ago. I started writing a lot of things about 12 years ago, but it wasn't until COVID that I actually sat down and said, okay, I can do this. I can get it out. And it's going to be what it's going to be, right? It's going to be received or not received. There's tons of books like this out there, but what makes mine different is that it's personal to me. I really wrote about my mother, and every picture in the book is something that happened in our real life. I put it in Spanish as well. And they're characters of color, right? Only less than 6% of books in the children's market are for children of color. And so I don't know, it just seemed natural that I was going to put it in a book and explain it. I don't know. It's wild. God just put it in me and it just bubbled up, I don't know.
I like what you're saying right now. It really resonates with me and so many others, just, the way you grew up and just the way you were pretty much formed in your environment in order for you to really begin to serve others and to value others. You began to talk about that a lot, just how you valued others, how your mother, you were showing, vacuuming and just showing, the things that most people don't think that is a real big deal, but it really is a big deal, and how you valued all lanes of work. Like you said, post office, your family, when they used to do some things, just helping out around the house and things of that nature, and just how you valued it, just how they brung up for what you do. Tell us about just how you began to create that when it came to your amazing plush doll. I really like Justine, because I said, man, I wish I had a Justine.
This is my girl right here. Hello, good morning. We love her.
Justine.
We love Justine. So just real quick to talk about value. One of the things I grew up with was, because we were a single mother, because we grew up in South Central, we were poor. I learned early on that most people don't value you because you don't fit into their norm, like what's okay for them. So I think that's when I realized that I wasn't going to treat people the way they treated me. And I was always going to see people and just value the point that the fact that they're standing here and that you're another human being who's breathing. I don't know you. I don't know your story. I don't know how you got to be here at the same time with me. But let's just appreciate the fact that we are talking and we're meeting, things like that. So even though the book started off as a love letter to my mother, it's taken on this whole subculture genre of teaching kids to appreciate, value, and have gratitude. And so even though people don't know yet that Justine has superpowers, her superpower is that she can see the good in other people. And so that's how we sell baby girl here. She will help your child to value and to see the good in other people. Just being seen is an amazing thing. I have students who no one talks to them all day. So if I see you, I'm going to give you my, hey, how you doing? Good morning. And that's what Justine's going to do. She's going to help kids to see and value. So yeah, so I don't know if you want me to talk about the plush. I don't know if you want me to talk about the journey. Okay. Okay. So everybody's always asking me for the past 4 years if we have a doll to go with the books. And I was like, no, not yet. So a couple years ago, I found a factory. I just called them up in China. I said, now listen, this is what I need. All I have is these drawings, and what can we do about it? So it took almost a year to get the whole process from start to finish for her to be sitting here in the house. But I went through about 6 different versions of her before we got to this version. Sometimes you got to play around with stuff like that. But I'm excited. We have her. We want to get her in Target. We're going to have Justine and the book together. So it's going to be a literary box that we're going to sell. I don't know. I'm just excited. I want to see all the little girls who look like us. I want them to have a Justine. In the future, we're going to have a Justine with a box inside that'll teach Spanish. So that's the long-term goal for her. But I don't know. I'm just so excited about this. I can't believe that people like this. It's a blessing. And I'm just, I'm over the moon with everything.
It's really impactful, honestly. You're really touching spaces in our hearts that we haven't spoken before. And, I resonate personally with it. It looks like me. She looks like me, and I feel that I can group her together and we can ride together and we can connect together and I can continue to soar together and I can continue to belong. You say so many things when it comes to the Justine Dow, honestly. And I feel that it sets the tone for a lot of us to continue to understand that we can continue to create as well.
Yes, we have to create our own tables of creation. Don't sit at somebody else's table. I can't tell you how many events I've been to and people discount me. And I'm like, all right, then I'm gonna go sit over here. And I bet you in 10 minutes, everybody's gonna come over here. Create your own table. One of the things we have to do is make our own lane and be the first. And don't be afraid to be the first. It is challenging, but if God brought you there, then he's gonna take you to the next level and to the next level and to the next level. Getting into the toy industry, getting into the book industry, it's not easy. People do not want you there. They don't care how good your stuff is, your book is, nobody care. But you care, I care. And you have to just say, you know what? I'm here and you're gonna deal with it. I know you see me, you don't want to see me, but I know you see me because you can't not see me. But we have to create. We're so creative. We're just so talented naturally from the creator. And you gotta take your shot in life. But also one other thing I want to talk about is how to protect your ideas. We are very creative and we jump online and share everybody with what we can do, but we don't protect our ideas. You have to get into copyright. You have to get into your trademarking. If you value your work and your gift and your talent, you have to protect it. And don't be so quick to share at first. Hold back a little bit. Hold it just a little bit. Protect your stuff and then put your stuff out there because that's really important too.
It's so important. You said so many pieces that we really need to understand. I mean, you really began to bring us in on the inspiration, but then you went transformed into the business. You had to learn some things, right? Just understanding that, right?
Absolutely. Before you get into this line of work, but when you start writing your book, go ahead and write the book first. Write it, get it out, get it on paper, get that process started. But while you're getting it illustrated, because that can take a year, while you're getting it edited, because you have to, don't just ask people, to edit your book. Actually find an editor and let them edit it. When they bring it back, you're gonna like, oh, I was appalled when they said my back all the red marks. I was like, excuse me, I'm a teacher. And And while you're doing all that, start reading books on how to copyright. At a minimum, do the copyright. It's $69. And it's invaluable because people already have started making books in my name, which is now a trademark. Can't do that. People have already started trying to take my characters. Can't do that either. I don't play around over here. So you have to learn the whole business, because interviews are great. I smile for all the cute pictures, great. But you have to have a set of, a mind of business behind that as well, because these ideas are great and people coming for them. So, you need to make sure that you're learning and reading. You have to read about this stuff. There's so many great books that I read, in this whole process for the last 4 years. You have to read and educate yourself and make your content, I don't know. One of the things I say to people who ask me about how to write a children's book is you got to write about what you know. I know about family. I know about being a little Black girl. I know about superheroes. Everything's going to be about superheroes for me. And that's what you got to write about. So if you're out there and you want to write a book about what you know, whether it's food, jump rope, I don't care what it is, write about that. And then you'll have an amazing story, amazing book series.
That is truly amazing. You really touched on so many things that we really need to really understand. Honestly, just begin with yourself. Understand yourself, the things that you like to do. Don't forget about the things you used to do when you were younger. Bring those to the table. Understand how somebody else resonates with the same thing and just keep going. Don't quit. I feel there's something there.
You cannot quit. That's what they want you to do, right? They want you to quit. And you have to, so you can take a break. You get a break, but you can't quit. You can't quit. And I thank you so much for having me. I didn't know that, growing up as my experience was someone else's experience. I had no idea. So I want to thank you for that platform, because it validates my childhood. It validates my mother's choices and her strength. And so for that, I thank you on her behalf, because it's so sweet. Thank you so much, Lekeisha.
I appreciate it. Let me tell you something, because, I pretty much, as a child, I'm be transparent. I got, those dolls that maybe look like me. I got a Barbie, and I got a, what is it called? A Power Patch Kid doll, remember that?
Oh, yes,
And that's all we had. Nothing really looked like us. So we tried to make it look like us. And even so much so, we used to have a black marker, and I used to write it on his face. I'm being honest, transparent, because I was like, how come they look like me? I'm a brown girl,
They didn't. All our dolls were, if they were darker, right? I'm a darker skin tone. If they were darker, then they looked burnt, and she wasn't pretty. And they literally would just take the same white mold and just keep adding darkness to it, with no sense of like the cheekbones or the dimples or the beautiful eyes. Like, our dolls were not cute. They were worse before us, and I guess they got them better in the 80s and the 90s, but they still weren't good. That's why I was like, you know what? I want a doll that's cute. When they first sent me the first doll from the factory, she was ugly. And I was like, I'm sorry. I wish I would have the picture up to show you. When I opened the attachment, I screamed. She was so ugly. And I was like, no. I was like, no, this is not at all what we discussed. This is not what I said. So I had to have to then make her 3 different times before I was like, okay, this is what we're going to work with. They had her, I don't know, a picture, right? She's cute right now, right? Imagine her, this mouth was red. She looked like a plantation doll, to be very honest with you. Her mouth was red, and she had these white fangs coming out, and the hair was a crazy color. The body was the same, but the face, it was horrendous. They had her eyes looking some weird, right? I'll send you the picture. It was horrible. And I was just like, that's not what I'm putting out for little Black girls. I'm not doing that. I want them to have something that's cute, feminine, that's delicate, right? I don't want anything that's harsh. This isn't, we're not a Bratz. We're not doing the whole Bratz kind of doll. We want soft, and we want something that the little girls are like, oh, I want to be able to touch her hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, our dolls were terrible. And the Cabbage Patch, they were cute, but you only got like 2 varieties. You had one that looked like she might have been Latina or light skin. We wasn't really sure. And then you had one that was just dark, but she wasn't cute. Like you know what I mean? Like, they was never cute.
Exactly.
I remember even having like Barbie dolls. I would get the one that I think was Latina because she was closest to our complexion, but still was cute. Because I remember having one dark doll at Kmart. How old am I at Kmart? Or Zodi's. I'm not sure which one it was. And I was like, oh. And I was like, I wanted the black one, but why she look like that? I just feel like, why she look like that? So Justine is the first of all the dolls. My sister is in the book, so she'll be a doll, a plush doll, and then the mom will also be a plush doll as a superhero and as a regular mom. I want all of them. I just imagine the box set at the holidays. You get all the characters, and they can be super around the house and be cute. Like, we gotta keep it cute. Like, we gotta keep it cute. Because these dolls out here, and even too when I go to like trade shows, they have they have black dolls all around the world, Germany and Singapore, like everywhere, and they're not pretty. And you have kids in France with these dolls that are poor reflections of their beauty. You have these kids in Canada with horrible looking dolls, and I'm like, why can't they have a baby that's just as adorable as any other baby? You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know.
It's amazing that you're saying this, because it's important for us to continue to mold the clay. Yeah. I'm taking it back. That we know when it comes to clay, and we see clay as like a big glob, right? But the whole point is to continue to make and inform it into what you want it to be. It may not be perfect the first time, but as you continue to form it, you make this amazing creation and masterpiece, right? But the point is to never forget.
You can't forget, right? That's the motivation. You can't forget, never, ever at all. But yeah, it's definitely a journey, and I look forward to in the years to come seeing more people who look like me at these conventions and whatnot. So hopefully today somebody will say, "Yep, I'll see her in a couple of years." I'll be like, "Hey, girl."
Oh yeah, I really feel that. Definitely you're going to see us and so many of people that are going to be connected with you, because you're going to speak on behalf of a lot of people that didn't have a voice before. I'm big on all about having a voice, and understanding that you do belong, and your uniqueness is truly created intentionally just for you to share, for the world to be able to see, so they can heal from all of the bruises in the past of things that were not themselves. So I really feel that, I want to talk about a little bit about you being the amazing storyteller that you are.
Oh, you're so
Let's
kind.
talk about that. Mm-hmm.
You're so sweet.
You're really great at that. Honestly, just being a storyteller, you create, in the creations of your characters. You got Shayla, you got so many other people that we resonate with as readers. What is it that you want to share with not only your readers, but the people that are observing and they want to begin to understand how to create too?
So I always start with what you know, right? Create with what you know and what's not there that you want to see. If there's something that you want to see, then you have to make it, right? You're the first. When I created my characters in my book, everybody in my books are people that I already knew. Whether it's a schoolmate, whether it's one of my cousins, I have got to put the cousins in the book, or it's classmates. And I also like to add my great grandparents and my grandparents to my books as well. So like I named the school that she goes to, Oliver Ben Elementary. That's after my great grandfather from Louisiana. His name was Oliver Benarby. And he was an amazing guy ahead of his time. So I was like, okay, so all the smart kids and all the superhero kids go to his school, right? So he's like Professor X. And then I have like, I got to put everybody in my book. That's one thing. Use the people that you already know, and then you build off their personalities already, because you know what they like and what they don't like. And then you add in a little modern touches or whatever. So like Justine is me from 80s, but my hair wasn't that long. But I decided it was going to be this long in the book. I decided that she wanted ponytails that she could swing. I've decided that that's what she wanted. So we made it. Poof, we made it. Shayla in the book really is my sister. That's really how she would have, had her Walkman in her ear. So her character is usually listening to something, and we'll figure out what she's listening to in book number 4. But yeah, the creative process is just sit down somewhere and put it out on paper. The book process, I always do 17 pages of text, and then I go in and have her do up to 34 pages with illustrations. Stuff. There's a whole rhyme and reason to writing a children's book. But you want to at least do about 17 to 20 pages of text. You can do short. I don't know. Do you want me to talk about the book process? I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My bad. I was like, because I'll be all over the place. So there's different kinds of books. You have to decide whether you want a cardboard book, which is usually the small ones for the kids. If you want an 8.5 by 5, whether you want to go 8 by 10, right? Different types of books. These are called picture books. You have to decide if you want it to rhyme, like all my books rhyme. Do you not want it to rhyme? Do you want it? I don't know. Like, there's just so many different components, but you have to decide what you want. But write the story first, and always do about 17 pages. You can go up to 28, but do 17 at least. Make it interesting that your person has to have a problem or a perceived problem, and then you have to solve the problem by the end of the book. So you got to get there quickly. They need a sidekick. They need at least 2 sidekicks, main character, and you have to go, when you make your main character, you have to go into your brain, and you have to know everything about that character. You have to give them first and last name, likes, dislikes, what animals do they like, what school do they go to, what grade are they in, what do they like to eat. You have to know this character, because the more you create a real person, they become real for the reader. So like little kids reading, they ask me about Justine. It's funny. I'll be like, oh, she's good. I'm like, she holding on. She's doing all right. They're like, well, when's her birthday? In May. Yeah, that's when her birthday. So you have to really get to know the character, because kids will come back to you. Like we would do vendings and different school activities. The kids, they're like, well, when is Justine coming? So I wanted to make a puppet as well, because kids want to meet her when I go out to schools. Especially the little ones. The smaller they are, oh my God, they're like, I want to play with her. And I'm like, well, she can't, she's taking a nap right now. Like, you have to like come up with the whole thing. So the creative process, you really have to go in there with the creative process and let your body create. You're not on any time frame. If it takes you a year to write the story, then it takes you a year. If it takes you 12 years, then it takes you 12 years. I wrote this story 8 times. So there's 8 different versions of it, but I just knew that those 8 versions, that wasn't it. It was cute. They was cute, but it wasn't it. But when I wrote this version, I was like, okay, now that's really me on the page. So yeah, sorry. I could talk forever. Sorry.
No, this is amazing. Let me tell you why this is amazing, because it's important for us to know from the beginning to where you are right now, because people are resonating with it and they're wanting to know, how do I start this? Do it have to be perfect? Does it have to be this? Sometimes going into mind. But I feel that what you're sharing with us, that we're going into this journey with you, and we can make it personal. Honestly, we be like, wow, this is so me. What is the birthday? What is her birthday? Come on, let me know what's going on so I can buy her a gift.
Right.
This happens. You create a culture and a family gender in your connections with your people. And I really feel that everyone is resonating with that, to understand just how they can become the same thing in their journey as well.
Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah, I would just tell people, start. You can always make a new edition. I had to figure out how to publish, because people wouldn't publish my book for me. Publishing companies, they weren't interested. They're still not interested, and that's all right. Like I told you, make your own table. So I started my own publishing company. And literally all that means, it sounds fancy, doesn't it? I started my own publishing company. Nah, it's not that fancy. I literally did an LLC.
It's fancy. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's fancy. I did an LLC, and when I went to copyright it, they said, what's the name of your company? And I was like, oh, I guess I'm a publishing house now. Because I put the name of the company in the little box, and I didn't realize at the time, that it was a publishing company. But the thing is, you have to start. This is edition number 2. I did edition number 1. It was a paperback. It was small. People still bought it, bless their sweet souls. But when I would go out, I was like, oh God, it needs to be a hardcover. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, oh, it needs to be bigger. I'm like, oh, nobody told me that. I'm like, oh, the name isn't on the spine of the book. I was like, nobody told me that either. So as you just get it done. But I will say, the first edition, when you do your book, get a really good illustrator, spend the money on the illustrator, take the time. A good illustrator may cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 for the illustrations. I was on a payment plan. I told her, I said, you sound expensive. I am a teacher. I said, well, can I pay for that over time? And she was laughing, and I was like, haha, I'm serious. So that's what I did. No shame. Find yourself a great illustrator who has experience making children's books, not just somebody who can draw. There's a difference, because they're going to set the words for you, the typography. They're going to format it so everything fits where it needs to fit. They'll show you how to put the barcode on. Those where the investment comes in. But if you mess up, if you release your first book and it's not as cute as you thought it was, okay, you can make another edition. Don't start over. Fix the one you already started, because you already started it. I would probably have about 5 editions before this book is put to the side, because I'm always like, oh, I could do this to the book. So yeah, you have to get started though. And when people see that you started, they'll help you out. God will send people along the way. Like, it's okay, guys. Like, But if you just sit there with these great ideas, nobody knows you have great ideas until you got to get it out there a little bit. So yeah, that's what I would, me in this book, that's what I would say. I could go on and on about me and the mistakes in this book, but it's all right.
Well, you know what? I honestly don't believe that there are mistakes. They're just the process. It's a part of the process. There's the steps that we're going into. And I feel that, just as you're journeying through what you're doing, you're showing us to keep going, to just jump. Jump. When you jump, it's scary. Sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. Oh my God, am I land? Am I going to fall on my face or whatever? And what's going to happen. But at the same time, you realize you're going to soar eventually. You're going to continue to soar. And I feel that, the fact that you just set a stage right there, everyone loves your book. But if you didn't start, no one would get it, right? And no one would know about Justine.
No, thank you so much. No, you're right. I want to tell people that to do stuff scared. I do stuff scared every day. I go into rooms every day. I do interviews every day where I'm like, hi, how are you? Good morning. I don't want to. I would rather put on my hoodie and sit in the corner and read a book with a glass of water. But that's not what I've been called to do. So you have to get out your comfort zone. Like, you have to do things scared. There's just so much I do scared. I just feel like, Jesus, please help me. Tell me what I'm supposed to say. Tell me where I should look. What should I be wearing? I just ask for help all the time because inside, I'm a little girl from South Central. That's it. I'm a little girl who want to go hang out with her grandparents and read these little books, from Sweet Valley High. That's what I feel like doing. But that's me on the inside. But on the outside, I have to be this, I'm a children's author and I'm a teacher and, blah, blah, blah. So you just got to do it scared. The fear, if you let the fear keep your feet planted where they are, you're never going to know who you could have been. And you're never going to know how on the other side of that fear is success. Because everybody's scared, but the brave one is the one who's like, I'm gonna move just 2 steps, and then I'm gonna move 2 more steps. So like every day, I do 3 things towards my goal. Whether it's get up, have an interview, whether it's email a bookstore, whether it's go to Barnes and Noble, sit on the floor and look through the children's books to see what's the trends. You have to do 3 things every day, and if you do that, the fear becomes less and less because okay, I'm gonna just do a little bit tomorrow and a little bit more tomorrow. And then I could do a little bit more tomorrow too. And then that takes you to the next level. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but 3 things a day. That's all you got to do for the fear, just to push them back a little bit. It makes a difference in your life.
Yes, it makes a difference in our lives. Honestly, you got to do it afraid, and you got to go into that room. Even if you don't know how, it's going to go. And if it's your first time, you just sit in, you don't have to talk. You just sit there and just be seen.
Right.
And you're gonna get more comfortable as you're in there. And then more and more you do it. That's like I said, you're molding, your clay, and you're getting ready for this multi-million-dollar and billion-dollar business that you're gonna have, your empire, right? So you're just speaking because you're already getting there. God just told you to get in there.
Bless your sweet soul. Yeah, I want to tell people that. So I was here at this house making design. No, I can't draw, but I will sketch and I will stick figure something away. And I ran into, so I was at the house and I had made all these products and I have all these dolls behind me, all these prototypes. And I was just like, man, I don't know. Now I've come this far, God, now what do I do? And I was online looking for Black bookstores, since I'm always looking for bookstores to introduce my book to. And this young lady came up and she has this whole company called the Toy Creators Academy. Anyway, I got on the call with her. She's African-American. I got on the call with her and I said, well, I made all these dolls, but I don't know what to do next. And she was like, stop making stuff. And she was like, let me introduce you to some people. So I got to go to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and took my dolls and my book to meet people who own stores. And I share that to say, you have to keep going. You have to make it even though nobody is watching you, even though there's no interviews, even though there's no pictures. You have to keep making stuff. So if God said to you, write a book, and then he said, make hair bands that go with the book or a hairbrush, something that go with the book, then do that. Because while you're making all that, the opportunity to present that information is on its way to you. I met a jail and she turned my world around. Now I get to meet you, turn my world around. So you have to keep working when nobody's around because, like all this stuff, I think people think they see pictures on Instagram, and they're like, Oh, girl, man, girl, you was looking cute in that picture. And I'm thinking, thank you. I drove 80 miles that day for that picture. The doll fell in the parking lot. I had to get up and dust her off. And I was like, oh my God, please. I stepped on one of the books. I can't sew that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so before all these pictures and people say, oh, it's so cute. I'm like, you guys don't know the work. You got to put in the work behind the scenes. Like, people are allergic to work sometimes. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, this is work. Like, you got to work before these pictures get taken. There's work. So, yeah.
I love it. You're humble. You're really humble because you understand the journey. You understand the story. You're like, I didn't just start out here today. It's been a process, family. Listen, I'm still molding this clay, and I'm just telling you what the story is. I'm just don't forget about your dreams and goals. And I really resonate with your story and everything that you are. Like, this is just a part of you, honestly. Just everything that you're connected with. You were just talking about the Latino community, the Hispanic community, the entire community of even, African Americans and African community and abroad. How are you resonating with that community? Because you're understanding that they need something as well, too.
So how my connection with Latin America started was in South Central. We lived next door to a Mexican family. And as mothers, she saw my mother struggling with two little girls, and she offered to watch me. So that's how my Spanish began. The neighbor used to watch me in the hood. That's how it all started. And then when I was in sixth grade, we had Spanish at our school again. And then in college, I moved to Costa Rica. So that's how the Spanish keeps popping up, which is crazy. And then, so when people hear me speak Spanish, first people are, I don't know, it's like a sideshow attraction. People are amazed because I memorize the words, guys. It's just memorizing the words. That's all it is. People are always amazed. And so Latinos will come over and then they want to know my whole life story, because people don't realize that more Africans went to Latin America during the slave trade than to the Americas. So it's not new that people of color speak Spanish. I know it's not a history lesson, but I just want to explain it to people because people are always baffled. How do you know the words? It's not that hard, guys. I think it might be in my DNA. I don't know. But so people are always amazed. They come over, they're amazed. And then they're amazed that the book is in English and Spanish. And so what I noticed is that while this is my story and while I think Justine is me, she seems to resonate with mothers in general. We'll have mothers who are Latina. We'll have mothers who are from, same sex. We have parents from all over, and I saw they buy the book for themselves more than for their children. I swear they do, and it's hysterical. And then usually my mom is there, so everyone want to talk to the superhero. But yeah, Latinos are just like, dang girl. And then there's always someone who says, there's someone Black in my family. I want to buy this book for that child because they're not seen in our family. There's a scene in the book where the mom's combing her hair. And that picture, more than any picture, is what people are always like, well, I really have curly hair. I know my hair is straight right now, but it's really curly. And I'm like, that's okay. I know what you're saying. I'm like, that's okay. Enjoy the picture. My people at my post office are like, they bought the book, and because they see me mailing all these copies out. And they're like, well, my hair is really curly, but I wish I had a book like this when I was a little girl, know that it was okay to have curly hair. Or I'm the darkest one in my family, it's the book has resonated with everyone, Indian families. That's the craziest part, is everybody. So that's when I realized that this was a little bit bigger than me, and that we needed to have characters that look like people because it resonates with people, even though that wasn't the plan, but now it is. I hope I answered this question. Sorry.
Oh, that answered my question, because let me tell you why. It's, just being as someone girl that was, joined the military, I saw people that I did not understand. It's like we were all grouped together and we had to get to know each other. Right. We didn't talk the same languages. We didn't, live in the same tribes of communities, but we had to get to know each other. Yes. So it's important for me, just what you're asking, what you are answering for myself and for so many other viewers, because we resonate with that, how to fix, our mindset of how to relate.
Yes.
The relatability is huge for us to understand, that we have to continue to groom that. It
is. And I feel like, I don't know, like I see with my students that they're not as diverse as we are, and that their generation don't seek out to find people who are different than them. They stay in their small clusters and that's it. In the 80s and 90s, everybody was cool, and in the hood, at least, everybody was cool with everybody. we all got to know each other. You know, I might have had some mac and cheese on, you know, in my lunchbox. You may have had some tamales in your lunchbox. And if you were Asian, if you were Filipino, you had some pancit in your lunchbox. And we were like, what's that? I learned to eat seaweed from my Asian friends because I was like, what is that? You know, and they're like, what's mac and cheese? And we was like, hold up. I had okra at my lunch, you know. So it's that I learned in an early age to become relatable and how to become relatable, right? So you have to ask, hello. You have to value the person in order to be relatable. You have to inquire as to their culture and who they are. You have to be open to those same questions. We would touch their hair because we were like, this is before weaves. We were like, wow, your hair is so long. And they'd be like, wow, you have braids again? Yes, I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I noticed that my students today, they miss out on that awesome humanness because they're so into their little bubbles, and they miss out on the whole. I'm like, she could be so cool. Don't you want to talk to her? And they'd be like, no. I'm like, okay, well, I have friends of every ethnic background, and I have African friends, Afro-Caribbean friends, Afro-Latino friends. You don't know? Okay. It's, you know, you have to, I think relatability is important, but I think relatability comes from living and traveling. You can, you know, attest to that being in the military. When you travel, you see that you're so smaller. You're just a little nugget in the world. And, you know, in the US, oh, you're a big deal. No, when you travel, it just opens your world. When I was in Costa Rica, I was the only, as always, I was the only African-American student in my study abroad group. Everyone else was white, and they were from the East Coast. East Coast is different from West Coast, from the South. You know, we all it's a different culture. It's like a subculture. And then I was the only Black person in my neighborhood in Costa Rica. So they would literally come to the windows. It was the silliest thing. For like the first 2 or 3 months, they would run to the windows every morning when I would come to go ready to walk to the bus stop to go to school. They would run to the windows, and I'll be looking up. You know, I think somebody's staring at you. They were. And the little kids away from as they're going to school in the morning. And I was like, who are they waving at? I was like, buenos dias. Like, hi, go on. You know, so I forgot what I was sharing. Oh, I was sharing that because the traveling makes me more comfortable in uncomfortable situations, right? It helps me with my fears. And then it helps me with the books because then I'm able to have a more global perspective. Like, would this resonate with just me, or could this, you know, could there be a little girl in England who this might resonate with? Would this resonate with a little girl in the middle of, you know, Kazakhstan? Who knows? But traveling helps with relatability and being open to meet new cultures. That's really important.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, you know, because a lot of us really just need to know how to step out and say hello. You know, saying hello is really hard, honestly, to do that. And, you know, that's really want to build community. You have to be able to share yourself and, you know, to not be fearful. And I feel that's what you're doing with our amazing Justine and all the amazing characters that, you know, that are in the amazing legacy that you have built for all of us. You know, one thing I will say, the last question that I will say, you know, what is the last final point that you would like to share to the audience today, just being who you are, CJ Charles, as the author that you are? What do you want to share with all of us, nor for us to connect with when it comes to everything that you are in this book?
Gratitude. I'm very grateful for everything. I'm grateful for every journey, every headache, every teary night, every embarrassing moment, every win, every almost win, every you wasn't about to win. I appreciate all of it. And I think gratitude is what keeps me going forward, because when I get sad or down or disappointed, I have to look around and say, well, I have 2 good legs and my teeth are still cute and my brain still works. And, you know, you have to sometimes it get as basic as that, like, oh, I had food to eat today. So I think gratitude, I want everybody to know gratitude is everything, even in the midst of disappointment and anger and you know, hurt and pain. You got to be grateful because somebody still wants to be you even on your worst day. So I don't know. I think gratitude for me is the theme of my life, and that's where everything for me stems from. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. Like, God loves me, and I know it. So that's
wow.
it.
We feel it. We honestly feel it. Honestly, the Confused to Focus Talks with Lekeisha family really feel it. Honestly, CJ Charles, thank you so much for everything that you are. We want to make sure that we support you in everything that you're doing moving forward. So please let us know how we can connect with you. The Kickstart, you know, an amazing books and all the journey that you're doing. We want to follow you. We want to connect with you.
So sweet. You guys are so sweet. Thanks, friends. Hey, everybody. Yeah, so right now we're doing a Kickstarter. A Kickstarter is a fundraiser to get the doll manufactured. So to get her manufactured, it's going to cost a lot of money. So it's very common for people to do a Kickstarter for their businesses. So any amount to help Miss Justine, the Kickstarter closes at the end of the month. So any amount, I super duper appreciate it towards her. Both of the books. So we have 2 books out of the series. My Mother's a Superhero is available now on Amazon, TikTok Shop, website, everywhere. And then we also have Her Teacher is a Superhero, Miss April. Same character, just a different person. Again, both available on Amazon. On Instagram, My Mother is a Superhero on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of the above. And yeah, if you want to email me, all my email contact is on Instagram as well. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, CJ Charles. Listen, this has been an impactful interview. We just appreciate you for being transparent with us and sharing so many amazing nuggets and tools for us to enlighten our lives as well, too, if we want to begin to move forward into our journeys as far as to writing a book and as far as to creating toys and for us to continue moving forward in business and loving ourselves, because I really believe that you are impactful when it comes to that. Thank you so much for this amazing interview. Definitely looking forward to the next time that you come, because please, you're welcome back. Please come again. And we want to share with you even more. Appreciate you so much, Queen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Wow, family. That was the amazing CJ Charles. Truly impactful. I really resonated so much with her and just her brand and her community and just what she's sharing with us. Honestly, I am all for making sure that we understand who we are and our journeys and understand how we can win and be impactful, authentic, transparent. You don't need to be by anybody else. Don't be a copycat, because you have so much genius within you moving forward ahead, family. And I love that. Definitely, family, make sure you connect with us on the Confused to Focus Talks with Lekeisha. We usually have our shows on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode on this Thursday, family. Always connect with us on our amazing platforms that we have and also on our Patreon. Definitely connect with our Patreon community. Looking forward to connect with you guys on LekeishaMosley.com. and all of our amazing features in our books, How to Get Unstuck, Confused to Focus, which is why we have this amazing podcast and community episode as well. I'm looking forward to next time we have a conversation with each other, and love you so much, and make sure you be impactful. But you know how we end the show. In all you do, lead with confidence, understanding, and love always. Family, be blessed and always know that you matter. Love you so much.